It was a cold, foggy evening in London when Detective Arthur Collins received an unexpected visitor. The clock had just struck 9, and Collins was about to retire for the night when a sharp knock echoed through his small, dimly lit office. He opened the door to find a tall, well-dressed man with a nervous expression. The man introduced himself as Mr. Edward Grayson, a confidential agent working for the government. "Detective Collins, I need your help," Grayson said, his voice trembling. "Something terrible has happened, and I fear my life is in danger." Collins gestured for him to sit down. "Please, Mr. Grayson, tell me everything." Grayson took a deep breath and began his story. He explained that he had been tasked with delivering a confidential document to a high-ranking official. The document contained sensitive information about a secret treaty between two powerful nations. However, on his way to the meeting, Grayson was ambushed by two masked men. They demanded the document, but Grayson managed to escape. "I hid the document in a safe place," Grayson said, "but now those men are after me. I don't know who they are or how they found out about my mission. I need your help to uncover the truth and protect the document." Collins listened carefully, his sharp mind already working on the case. "Where is the document now?" he asked. "It's in a locker at King's Cross Station," Grayson replied. "But I dare not retrieve it myself. They're watching my every move." Collins nodded. "Very well. I'll retrieve the document for you. But first, I need to know more about these men. Can you describe them?" Grayson shook his head. "It all happened so fast. They were wearing masks, and it was dark. But I remember one thing. One of them had a scar on his left hand." That was a small clue, but Collins knew even the smallest detail could be crucial. He decided to start his investigation at King's Cross Station. The next morning, Collins arrived at the bustling station. He made his way to the lockers and found the one Grayson had described. Using the key Grayson had given him, he opened the locker and retrieved a small, sealed envelope. He carefully placed it in his coat pocket and turned to leave. As he walked through the station, Collins noticed a man following him. The man was tall and wore a dark coat, his face partially hidden by a hat. Collins quickened his pace, weaving through the crowd, but the man stayed close behind. Collins decided to confront him. He turned into a quiet alley and waited. Moments later, the man appeared. "Why are you following me?" Collins demanded. The man smirked. "Hand over the document, detective." "This doesn't concern you." Collins narrowed his eyes. "I'm afraid I can't do that." The man reached into his coat, but Collins was quicker. He lunged forward, disarming the man and pinning him against the wall. "Who sent you?" Collins growled. The man remained silent, but Collins noticed a scar on his left hand. This was one of the men who had attacked Grayson. Before Collins could question him further, the man pulled out a small knife and slashed at Collins' arm. Collins stumbled back, and the man took off running. Collins knew he couldn't let him escape. He chased the man through the narrow streets of London, but the fog made it difficult to see. Eventually, he lost sight of him. Back at his office, Collins examined the document. It was indeed a treaty, but something about it seemed off. The signatures didn't match the official seals, and some of the wording was suspicious. Collins realized the document might be a forgery. He decided to visit Grayson to share his findings. But when he arrived at Grayson's apartment, he found the door ajar and the room in disarray. Grayson was nowhere to be found. Collins searched the apartment and found a hidden compartment in the desk. Inside was a letter addressed to Grayson, warning him to stay away from the treaty. The letter was signed by someone named the Shadow. Collins had heard of the Shadow before, a mysterious figure involved in espionage and blackmail. If the Shadow was involved, This case was far more dangerous than he had imagined. Determined to uncover the truth, Collins decided to set a trap. He spread a rumor that the document would be handed over to the official that evening at a secluded mansion on the outskirts of London. As night fell, Collins waited in the shadows of the mansion. Sure enough, two men arrived, one with a scar on his left hand. They entered the mansion, and Collins followed silently. Inside, the men confronted a figure sitting in a chair. It was Grayson, tied up and gagged. The man with the scar laughed. "You thought you could outsmart us, Grayson. Now you'll pay for your betrayal." Before they could harm Grayson, Collins stepped out of the shadows. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," he said, holding a revolver. The men turned, startled. "You?" the scarred man hissed. Collins smiled. "Yes, me. Now, let's talk about this document." A tense standoff followed, but Collins managed to outwit the men and free Grayson. With the help of the local police, the men were arrested, and the forged document was confiscated. Later, Grayson thanked Collins for saving his life. "I owe you everything, Detective. But tell me, how did you know the document was a forgery?" Collins explained his observations and added, "The real question is, who is the Shadow?" "This case isn't over yet." Grayson nodded. "Be careful, Collins. The Shadow is a dangerous enemy." As Collins walked away into the foggy night, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a much larger mystery.